Wow, that was quick today. Hi, everybody. Well, all of us are here. All of us. I mean, the three guys and me, which is quite normal. To have three guys or two. And me, I don't know where all the girls are. So hopefully we can get some girls coming here. Which there's no problem being the only one. So I grew up with two brothers, so it's pretty normal for me to be around guys. So fantastic. Well, today we're going to talk about different expressions, adjectives. And so, it's just, we're going to look a little bit above and beyond the typical adjectives. So let's talk about those typical adjectives first. What are the basic ones that we know of? Anything? I mean, we can write them in the chat box. You can tell me whatever you want. The basic adjectives that everyone learns as a child. Silence is what everyone learns as a child. Yes, Ken?
Beautiful.
That's a really advanced one. Well, not really advanced, but beautiful.
Pretty.
And yes. Mm-hmm.
Pretty.
Mm-hmm. Pretty. Mm-hmm. That's it?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes? I don't think Bob's microphone works today because I'm not hearing anything and I didn't hear it before either.
Hello, you not hear me?
Now I can.
Yes.
What happened? What did you do?
I don't know, internet.
Okay. That's fine. No problem. Adjectives. Tell me adjectives.
Pretty.
Pretty is already on there. We have beautiful and pretty, and I've written them in the chat box.
Yes.
What other ones? Nice. Okay, good. Other ones that we can think of. Got my hands on the keyboard, so I'm ready to go. What's... Happy, for example, that's a pretty basic adjective. What about sad? What about angry?
Yes.
People can be hungry as well, but don't get those two confused. Supposedly, there is a new adjective. It's called hangry, which means you're angry because you're hungry. Just so that everyone knows that. So happy, sad, angry, beautiful, pretty, nice, wonderful. Wonderful's a really good one too. See, these are kind of the basic ones that we learn all the time. And so instead of using these all the time, today we're going to look at different ways of saying things. And I think later we'll have some time to use them or to look at different adjectives. Rafael, did you want to say something?
No, I just clicked by accident. Sorry.
That's okay. You don't have to say anything. So let's go ahead here and I'll find what I need. Or I won't. Hold on. Well, while I'm doing this, real quick, we'll hang out. Slide 1. Okay. Share, and we'll just move it up a tiny bit so we can see all of this. So we have some expressions here, as we were saying, and different words. All right, so it'll be good today. Is this a good size for everyone, or is it too small? What do you think?
Okay.
It's okay. All right.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Well, in general, this is not just talking about fear, as it says here, but just some emotions. Okay. And so what we're going to do is, let's see, maybe Rafael, you can read the first one. Okay. Read the first example.
It makes me feel scared, frightened, nervous. It's physically expressed just that you don't like something because it has a negative effect on you.
Exactly. So if you feel scared, it makes me feel. So let's look at the structure of this sentence. What what is going on here with it? Well, what is the it referring to?
The agent.
All right, the agent. Okay, well, what is an agent to those that have a little less open? What's an agent? How would you describe an agent in this case?
The scary thing, the frightening thing, I think.
Sure, yeah, that's good.
It's
So
a subject. It is a subject.
do you understand or do you know my next question or quiz is, do you know what this is called as a grammar point? What's this grammar? No idea? Ken?
In Japanese, it is said hypothetical subject. Like
Oh, wow, that makes sense.
but I don't know how can I say in English.
Okay, well, I've done this topic before. It's called the introductory it. Obviously, we're starting the sentence with it, which is introducing the sentence. But I like your hypothetical one better. But yes, Raphael, you are absolutely correct in the fact of saying that it represents this situation. I would refer to it as a situation that makes you feel scared, frightened, or nervous. Now, a question: is nervous always a negative feeling? What happens on the day of your wedding? What happens if you're having a child? Well, that probably could be negative because you're worried about doing something negative or something negative happening. But in general, is nervous always a negative adjective? Little debate today.
I think in general, nervous.
I'm sorry, in general.
Nervous seems negative feeling. It's up to the point of view, but in general.
In general, okay. Any other opinions, Bob?
Oh, I think no, in general. Sometimes nervous is good. Example in the music, in the performance. Sometimes the musician is nervous, but continuously in the future will be okay.
Absolutely. And that's the kind of nervous adjective I was thinking about before. Like you said, before an exam, you might be nervous because maybe you're not prepared enough, or maybe it's a really important exam. But I don't necessarily think it's negative if you're nervous. All it means is that it's very important and you want to do your best. Ken, do you have a rebuttal? A rebuttal is like...
Yeah, I saw the same thing. But in general, maybe people think nervous. If I'm nervous, which means kind of people want to get out of this feeling, but also worry as well. Because of we feel worry, we can prevent some danger from danger, but maybe people don't want to feel like that so much.
All right. Well, I can agree with that. Raphael, do you have any comments to add? Do you think nervous always means negative?
I kind of agree with Aka, because when someone is nervous, according to some specialists in medicine, I don't know, I'm not a specialist, I'm not a doctor, but they usually say that when you are nervous, it means that is a normal reaction from your body to again when you are faced with a dangerous situation, and it means that you have to your body start to produce some substances in order to make you feel ready to escape or to get yourself safe. And I believe that's the purpose of becoming nervous. It's a normal reaction from your body.
Okay. Well, interesting, and that's okay. I mean, I was like, where did you get that information about those studies? But no, good. No, I absolutely agree. I mean, it's just kind of to debate a little bit, to think a little bit more about these words and in different situations, like Bob said, and what I mentioned, and about being nervous before an exam or before you perform as a musician. Something like that. But absolutely, yeah, there is that side of worry. So, and I think scared and frightened are absolutely always negative. Unless there are some people, I think, in the world that enjoy being scared and frightened. I think they're crazy. um, the last scary movie I watched, my blood pressure went up a lot. So I don't enjoy being scared or frightened. Ken, do you know of anything? Any comments?
I think maybe how can I say negative? The meaning of define negative or somewhat different. I mean, so sorry. Yeah, that's the problem of this debate. How can I say? I said in general. I don't say always. In
Right.
general. So also to define the negative is not so clear. In a negative, what sense in negative? It is negative. It's that kind of thing is important to define the things important to do to debate.
Exactly. And at the title does say talking about fear. And so fear is normally not something that's very positive. And so I'm sure they're focusing on that as well. But I want to focus more on adjectives and expressions in general today. Okay. So we're looking at this from all angles, not just about fear or a negative aspect. So perfect. The next one, Bob. Can you read I just wouldn't be able to cope and what it means, please?
Yes, I just wouldn't be able to cope. This is more hypothetical and express that if you were in this situation, you wouldn't be able to tolerate it. Mm.
All right, so I have some questions here. It says this is more hypothetical. Are there any key words in this phrase, I just wouldn't be able to cope? Any words or words that represent hypothetical situations?
Mm.
Wait, or not.
Yes.
You think there are?
Yes.
Do you have any idea?
Oh, I have idea, but I cannot
Well,
to explain.
that's okay. That's not a problem. So do we have any reinforcement from Ken or Raphael at this point? Is there anything in this phrase that represents hypothetical?
Maybe the modal verb.
Would. Fantastic. So in what kind of grammar would we use the word would in a hypothetical situation? Ken, it kind of sounds like this question is going to you now.
Conditional.
Which conditional?
I'm not good at conditional.
I'm not good at conditionals.
Second or third.
Second. Very good. Were you looking at that PDF I sent you?
I just
You were opening it, weren't you? No, this is fantastic. So yes, so as Ken said, as we've compiled together with all of us here today, we've discovered that I just wouldn't be able to cope is part of a second conditional sentence. Let's finish that second conditional sentence, okay? So first, I'm not going to discuss grammar. I just want the three of you to each finish this sentence, okay? I just wouldn't be able to cope if, because this is the main clause, the other clause has to start with if, okay? I'm saying too much now. Is it possible for 1, 2, or 3 of you to write me a sentence or a phrase to finish this sentence? I don't hear anybody clicking or typing or anything.
So finishing with this, I just wouldn't be able to cope.
I'm going to type one that I'm going to leave for the end. Okay, I have my end finished. This is a live test today for all of you. Is someone working on a sentence? Is anyone typing? No? Yes? Should I write my sentence? All right. Oh, I wouldn't be able to cope if I had to walk across the desert by foot. Okay. Thank you. The only thing I'm going to change there is on foot. We go by with transport, by bus, by train, by plane, but on foot. It's one of those irregulars. So very good. Thank you. I just wouldn't be able to cope if I had to walk across the desert on foot. I absolutely agree with you. I wouldn't either. Any other sentences? Ken, for example? No?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
So I just wouldn't be able to cope if I had to watch the movie Veronica, which I've heard is the scariest movie out there. I don't know anything about it, but it's scarier than Annabelle, and that was difficult to watch for me. So, what are we using? We both are using if I and then had to. What kind of structure are we using? What grammar? The past tense.
Past for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And not only past, but we're using had to walk or had to watch. And so we're using a modal verb, the modal verb have to, but this modal verb is one of two. The other is need to. We can use these as a regular verb, and so we have to conjugate it. Why are we using the past simple tense?
Because it's a hypothetical situation.
Because it's, I'm sorry, what?
Hypothetical.
Hypothetical, yes. But what does the past tense represent here? Are we talking about the past tense? I mean, did you try to walk across the desert by foot or on foot?
No.
So, okay. Well, your answer that it's hypothetical, yes, works for me, but it doesn't answer all of my questions. So we're using the past tense here in the second part of this conditional because we're talking about not only hypothetical, but this is kind of like a subjunctive. If you know what a subjunctive is, it's kind of that moment in the language in which you wish, you hope, you want, it's kind of like this hypothetical or unreal situation. And so that's why we're using the past tense. It has nothing to do with the past tense. The second conditional is something that you talk about now here in the present, and it refers to the future. Okay? Questions about that? I know, Ken, conditionals aren't your strong point, but...
But this structure is similar to Japanese, so I can understand it.
Yeah, okay, good.
Hypothetical, yeah.
Good. Well, we will be working on conditionals, I think, in May. I think that's what I have. So don't worry, they're coming. Okay. So fantastic. So I wouldn't be able to cope. What does cope mean? Able to cope. Can we think of any synonyms? Or explain what it means?
There.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
To bear. To bear something.
Okay, Ken?
Sorry, get along.
Get along. Um, I don't think that's exactly the right one. I think deal. I wouldn't be able to deal with something. Deal with. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And hello, well, you've been here before. Hello, Veet. I don't know if that's how you pronounce your name, but thanks for joining. I think last time you were here, you just wanted to be quiet, so that's fine today. You can write if you want in the chat box or speak as well, obviously. So very good. So cope. I wouldn't be able to cope. I wouldn't be able to handle, to deal with this kind of situation. It would be extremely difficult for me to be in this situation. That's what cope is. Okay. Oh, I went too far. Any other questions with be able to cope here? No? Okay. Well, I'm going to read this next one, and then Ken, you can read the last one because it's longer. So I am petrified or terrified of it. This expresses a strong level of fear. Have we heard of petrified or terrified before?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, can you think of an example?
But I forgot. Yeah, but I forgot one specific example.
Okay, well, do you want to think of one now, or is that too much?
For example, my roller coaster I got on stopped all of a sudden because of the strong wind. Automatic brake work. It was also scary.
Were you on the roller coaster when that happened?
Right.
Ugh. Okay. Yep. Petrified is probably. In this case, I would even use a quantifier. I was extremely petrified of it. Yes. I've discovered as I get older, I have more problems with heights and being in the air. So yes, I can absolutely, agree with you there. There's words for that, but it's not appropriate for this class. So, so good. Okay, great. Anything else? I mean, Bob, have you heard of petrified before? Terrified is more common.
Oh, yes. I'm
Have you ever
petrified when I first crossed the Atlantic Ocean.
Why? Why were you petrified?
7 days on the ocean, and we have a very strong wind and very, very big, huge waves. And really big ship is moving really a lot. And first time in my life, I'm petrified.
I would definitely agree in that situation. It sounds absolutely, absolutely terrifying.
Yes, but in the future, this is like usual on the sea.
So you've been in this situation since the first time?
Yes, the first time.
Wow. Sounds no, thank you. No, thank you. I would not be a very good passenger, I don't think. So Perfect. All right. So yeah, strong level of fear, like probably the strongest level of fear is what I would say. So good. And so Kenya, why don't you read this last one, this last expression, okay?
Okay. It sends shivers down my spine. This is something that happens to your body because of the fear. You go cold and maybe your heart beats faster.
So do we know what these words mean? Shivers down my spine, send shivers.
Yeah. Shiver is kind of ooh, cold, this feeling.
Very good example. I liked the noise as well. That helped. Yeah, woo. When you go outside in Wisconsin with no jacket and it's like 20 below zero Fahrenheit or 30 or 40, you will definitely have shivers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know other words for shivers?
And shivers, I don't know, maybe the body reactions, body shaking reaction because of the cold or this kind of shock.
Mm-hmm. They're also called goosebumps. I have
Yeah,
goosebumps.
yes, that's right.
I have goosebumps. I'm writing. More or less this. I have the hair on the back of my neck is standing up. That's similar to the same idea. And I was going to say one more, shivers. Anyway, that's the idea, is that something's so scary that it affects your body. Okay. So good. And then spine, what's your spine?
Spine is a bone runs through back
Mm-hmm.
from that spine.
Yep. Do you know the other word for that?
I don't know.
Backbone.
Backbone, yes, that's right.
Sometimes words in English make perfect sense. So the bone in your back is called your backbone or spine.
Right.
All right, perfect. So any questions about these expressions or anything here? No?
No.
All right. Well, moving on. So lots to be discussed in that one. So good. So it says, look at the following pictures. Well, we don't have any pictures. These people are in a dilemma. So we're going to invent this, okay? Using a common phrase or expression to express their fear, what do you think they are thinking? So the picture would be someone with a spider and a big spider. What would you say? And we can write this in the chat box if you want. See, someone with a spider, and what does it say in the speech bubble? Well, my response, okay. So I would say, oh my God, get that out of here, for example. Make it go away. So there's different, obviously, there's different phrases we can use. What about other expressions? What would you say, Rafael, to this? Do you have big spiders in Brazil, or is it, I'm just, because it does get cold?
Sorry. Yes, there are spiders here, but
not super big ones.
No, indeed, there are big pieces of spiders here. So, and also there are different species. I don't know much about spiders, but I know that there are a lot of them here, and in all sizes, the big ones, the smaller ones, the venomous and not venomous, depending on the species.
All right. So are you afraid of spiders, or do you not care, or what? What's your opinion?
I'm not such a big fan of them. I'd rather them too far from me, far away from me. I don't have anything in favor, but I don't have anything against them. But As long as they are far away from me, there's no problem.
That's what I think too. As long as they're far away from me, okay, fine, that's fine. But no, personally, no, thank you. Bob, what do you think of spiders?
Interesting animal. And bubble, yes. What I'm thinking, what I saying. I'm not scared too much about spider, and I'm not afraid of the spider.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
but other people, yes, I know. Girls especially.
Only because men don't want to admit
Yes,
it.
they're afraid of the spider. Maybe on the big spider. If I see.
Okay, all right. So lots of people can be afraid of spiders, but yes, women I think are more expressive, let's say. So good. Ken, what would you say?
Yeah, I used to be like how can I say acrophobia
Yeah.
because I watched when I was a small kid. I watched a movie called Tarantula, and
Mm-hmm.
Tarantula, a kind of scientist. How can I say? Because of a scientific experiment, tarantula get bigger and bigger and get out of the laboratory and became a giant monster size, and it attacked people. I was I was totally terrified by that movie.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I became a acrophobia. No, sorry, arachnophobia. Like, but now it's getting mild and soft and much
It,
more.
mhm.
They are also also not so harmful in general. Tarantula has a poison, but usually it doesn't have poison. So, but anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I'm a
don't
bit
think
worried about that.
Yeah. No, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But
Uh,
to me, I don't think it matters if the spider has poison or not. I just don't think they're very happy. So like I said, I completely agree with Raphael that the farther away it is from me, probably the better I am. So, and my husband doesn't kill anything. He doesn't kill flies. He doesn't kill anything that's in the house. And the other day we had a spider in the house. And he woke up or, got out of bed to go trap it with a cup and a piece of paper and threw it outside. I'm like, great. So, yeah, we don't kill things in this house. Anyway, so yeah, so spiders. So what about the second one? It says someone on a very scary ride, and then they're looking up in fear. So someone on a very scary ride. So Ken, this would be more or less your situation. Um, about being on that scary ride and how you felt. So yeah, obviously it would be extremely terrifying to be on a ride being stopped.
What?
Really, that's all you would say?
I don't,
Think about it in Japanese and try and not translate exactly, but put it into English.
what happened? Maybe I thought, yeah, such things.
Okay, I would think, oh my God, I'm going to die, for example. I would not, I mean, I like roller coasters. They are quite scary, but at the same time, I do think they're fun. But yeah, if anything like that ever happened to me, death would probably be my first thought. So just in case. Anyone else have any lines or, anything else that you would say in this situation? No, everyone else is pretty quiet. Yeah. All right. Well, no one wants to put themselves in these situations today, so that's fine. Oops. Now the computer's going slow. Okay. Okay, so just like the last one here, we have a little construction worker in the background. You know, these are situations in which could happen. So the first picture, I love this. It's unfortunate we don't actually have the picture because that would be a little bit more interesting. But a picture of someone watching a mountaineer and looking dubious. So the first question is what does dubious mean? Does anyone know? Does anyone have an idea based on
Uncertain.
uncertain? Okay, yeah, that's a really good word. Maybe hesitating or doubting the situation. They don't trust the situation. So yeah. So mountaineer, what's a mountaineer?
A hiker.
A hiker? Sure, yeah, someone who climbs mountains. So what would we think of in this situation? We see a picture of, you know, mountaineer. Maybe he's climbing a mountain and he doesn't look exactly very sure of his situation. I would say I hope he doesn't fall. I hope nothing bad happens. Any other responses? No one's responding to these situations. Or would the other one maybe be easier? The picture of someone seeing a ghost and looking cold. I would definitely have shivers down my spine. Any other comments or questions? All right. Well, as Bob said, women are probably more expressive. Well, Bob's comment and my comment led to that conclusion. So talking about fear, it says, imagine you were in the following situations. How would you express nature or survival stories? And we don't need to worry about the multiple choice answers. So how would you express this? The nature or survival stories? I mean, Ken told us about his, survival story of the roller coaster before. Any other scary stories that you've been in that you might want to share with us today in which we can comment? Everyone can hear me, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was starting to think, am I talking to myself? Is everything okay? No? No? Nothing?
It's a bit hard, but I used to when I was doing windsurfing with my friend, both of us were beginners. I think I told you this episode, right? No.
You and windsurfing. Nothing is coming from I can't think of anything now, but
Okay. And then we both of us were beginners, so we don't know how to sail. And as a result, my friend, kind of sail broke, and he needed help. So I swam there, and I thought it was easy to return, but the ocean is this actual distance on the ocean is maybe farther than I thought. I saw. Also, when I was talking on the boat, maybe boat, was floated farther to to offshore.
Mm-hmm.
So after I began to swim, I noticed, oh my gosh, it's far to get to the beach. But anyway, one me was almost panic, but another me says, calm down, and I because of that, another me, I could get the pace of the swimming, and then I could to the beach. So it was scary experience to me. So and I realized nature, the ever how can I say nature is sometimes we unexpected. So we need to be careful about that. Even though I swim or such kind of confidence is almost nothing in facing nature.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, I absolutely agree. Nature's unpredictable. The force of nature with wind or water, it doesn't matter. Very strong. So yeah, and when you're in those types of situations against Mother Nature, things are quite difficult and scary. So yeah, absolutely. And sometimes things seem closer, as you said, than they actually are. And then once you go a little bit and you're like, uh-oh, I didn't go very far. And it's still quite far away, or it doesn't look like I've moved. So yeah, it's quite dangerous. Yes. So good. Thank you for that story. Any other stories for us, Raphael or Bob?
I've witnessed a bank raid once.
Really?
And, exactly. And but I was a child. I don't remember that much, but I remember that I've heard some shots, and because the police had surrounded the whole area of the bank, and the bandits were unable to escape, so they had to negotiate. But there were hostages, and
Oh, wow.
as far as I remember, because everyone started to run away, started to get away from that area, because the police have ordered everyone to evacuate the near areas, and I don't know exactly what happened afterwards, but I've heard some shots and started everyone screaming. Lots of people screaming at the streets, and people pointing towards the bank, so to see something. But uh, I didn't consider that much frightening, but because I was too young, and I wasn't able to recognize exactly a dangerous situation. But uh, I remember that my mom told me that several people have became wounded because of this incident, and I don't remember exactly how what happened, but as far as I know, it was a dangerous situation, and everyone became scared.
Well, I would definitely believe that. I mean, like you said, you were too young to even understand what was going on and how threatening the situation really was. And nowadays, I mean, even when you were younger, you never know what anyone is going to do. Even your best friend, you think you know, but maybe they do something terrible, for example, or a different friend or a cousin or relative or something. You never truly know what a person's going to do. You can only imagine. And so you have to be very cautious of, in those situations too. So, especially with hostages. So yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Bob, any crazy stories on the boat?
Yes, I have one interesting story, but this is not story on the boat.
Okay.
Stories from the land.
Okay. We'll do that next. Good.
When a ship docked arrival on the port, passengers going out to see the city, and one day passengers have shore excursion, and when it's shore excursion, I have duties to escort the passengers in the group. And one interesting shore excursion is trekking on the small mountain in the Greece. Greece, small city named Volos. Fishing city, and a group 10 passengers and I. And one lady asked me, "Oh, hello, Bob, how are you?" Because she know I am musician on the board. And asked me, because you come with us on the trekking, maybe you are not in the physical condition for the trekking on the mountain. And I said, this is my duties. My manager said me, "Bob, you're going with these passengers on the trekking on the mountain." And I said, "Lady, don't worry, I'm good condition." In my country also I have small and big mountain and will be okay. But what's the happening in the next 3 hours? I'm in excellent condition because I must to be in excellent physical condition, my job on the ship, etc. But passengers is not in good condition. 60 years, 65, they think they is good and can walk and trekking and see the mountains, but we have problem. Tourist guide not come in this shore excursion. First problem. Second problem, one passenger is very clever and they said, come on, we're going to ride on the one way. But I said, no, I think this way is wrong. We are going to next way. And they not listening to me too much. But after 2 kilometers, they saw this is wrong way and listening to me. What's the happening? After 3 hours, this lady, passengers, not able to walk anymore, and we must to help this lady, and other passengers is come back to the ship and calling the help about car, special vehicle for the mountain, and they wait us to come on the port. When we come on the port, this is only 15 minutes to start to sailing to what's the name when the ship start sailing. And officers and people tell me, okay, Bob, you're good. And yeah, the people, but very interesting. Passengers asked me, am I able to trekking this mountain? And this is and this lady tell me, oh, Bob, thank you so much. God help us. And she called his husband and said, oh, my darling, we will see soon, very soon. And a really interesting story. natural survival of the passengers. Absolutely, after we coming on the ship and go to next port, situation is usually, and this day we drink some with passengers and tell us beautiful words of this interesting shore excursion.
Well, definitely. Wow. Well, yeah, I can definitely see why that would be an interesting story. So thanks for sharing as well. So that's basically it for today. I'm just hitting the table, sorry, and the screen's moving back and forth. So great. Well, that's about it for today. So hopefully we've learned some new expressions and some new vocabulary. I think I mentioned last class what we're doing for next week. Let me just double check. On Monday, we're going to do role plays with conjunctions. I do explain conjunctions, or I will explain conjunctions first. Then we'll go into the role plays, which will be fun. And then dating at work, and we're going to talk about dating someone at work. So it should be a pretty interesting week next week. I hope that you can join or at least watch later. So that's it for today. So enjoy your Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday still. And hopefully we'll see you on Monday, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for joining, everybody.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. Bye.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.